Hello and welcome to a quick chat with Dr. Kelly Wibbenmeyer. We are going to talk a little bit today about innovation technology and the impact to project management. Before we get into our quick chat, let me give you a little bit of background about myself. I have been in innovation technology management for the past 10 years, and I have been a certified project manager for about 18. I have been teaching at Southwestern College in the professional studies area for about 3 years now. And one of my greatest passions is innovation technology management. I run some of the RPA, robotic process automation activities at a local hospital. I also run some additional activities such as drone management, robots, and some other fun stuff that I get to do during work. So let's go ahead and get started with our presentation today. So old tech, is it real? So I remember my brother having the Transformers, and this looks like an angry Transformer, so I'm guessing it's a Decepticon with his battleship. And we also have our good friends R2-D2 and C3PO. So when we, or at least when I was younger, when we thought about robots and technology, these are some of the things that we thought of. Today's world, we look at robotics overall. We actually are working with robots day in and day out. If you have a car that you're driving, the car has probably been put together through a device like a robotic arm. Robotic arms are becoming more and more prevalent in today's industry and society, especially in the manufacturing area. We have drones down here. I have been waiting to get a Domino's pizza delivered by drone, but there are a lot more operations and implications for drone management. One of the things that I had done when I worked at the electric utility here in town was we had drones flying around to look at storm damage or look at vegetation management. So there were a lot of things that we use drones for. And where we used to send people out. This right here represents a lot of the automation technologies such as RPA, artificial intelligence, and the like. We are using and more reliant on computers and computer technology, including computer technology that's enhanced within robots. There is a hospital in Texas right now that has badged robots. And what I mean by badged robots is the fact that they have robots that are badged employees. They go and they deliver food. They talk to both children and the elderly, so they're not lonely in the hospital. And there's a lot of other opportunities for robots within the medical industry, and I think a lot of other industry as well. And then this picture down here, where I always think, every time I see this picture, I think of Tony Stark in the Avengers, kind of doing the same thing where he's got his virtual reality and augmented reality. So this one looks more like a augmented reality where there are some things that he's doing with the Google Lens, it looks like. And so we are looking at technology a lot differently now than what we were just even a decade ago. It's becoming more and more part of our world around us. So with that, I want to transition into how does all of this new technology relate to the overall premise of project management? Now, back in the day, we would think about project management as very much a waterfall or iterative thought process where you go and you sit down with the customer, you have face-to-face conversations, we spend more time in the planning, we spend a lot of time in the design requirements phase, we then go into execution while the customer is engaged the whole time, we do testing, then we do the implementation, closeout, and then monitoring and control. Well, in today's world, we've transitioned into a more agile aspect because of all this technology. So as technology really evolves, so does the role in project management. And so a few years ago, PMI adopted agile thought. But as we start looking more and more into these things called disruptive technologies, which is the technology I showed on the previous screen. We have to move faster. We have to be even more agile. There are new tools on the market that include both project management, testing management, resource management, skills management across the organization. So organizations are seeing a need to have more data at our fingertips so we can be more agile and move quicker and faster. One of the other things I'll mention about data is you have to have the right data at the right time to make the right decisions in today's world. Whereas maybe 10 years ago, we could have hired 2 or 3 people pulling reports and pulling information out of projects or Excels or MPP project files. We now need to have tools that we can obtain the information at our fingertips. So what about charters and design documents and everything that we think of from a traditional project management approach? Yes, they're still needed, but it's a very different concept. So in Agile, we think about stories. And so with transition and disruptive technology, we really start thinking about moving away from the traditional project charters and design, but more into what am I trying to accomplish from a story perspective? So we're getting more into the Agile framework. And then last but not least on this slide, I'd really like to talk about the people aspect. So we may have had people integrating in project management, performing work. Now we also need to think about bringing robots in or automation technology in as we're designing projects. So it's a very different train of thought. What I mean by this is, for example, we have a current project at work. We would have in the past had to bring 50 to 60 people on to complete the project because it's a fairly large project. And then when we transition into maintenance mode and hand that over to the customer, we would have had to bring on 15 to 20 more people in each department to manage this new technology. We still are bringing in some people for the project management aspect, but only 20 to 30 because we've adopted new tools within the organization to streamline and make us more efficient. The other piece of this is when we actually go to implement, we are implementing using automation technology. So we don't have to have a person performing the tasks. We're actually having robots and automations such as software like robotic process automation perform a lot of the tasks. We also looked at how we can transition the work from existing employees and give them the education and training that they need. This is another very important thought and concept as we start moving forward. People's work will change. We need to be prepared for that as project managers. And as we go to close out, I've listed some additional resources. I found these great transformative and disruptive technology slideshows out on the PMI website. I've listed the web address there. And there's one on Forging the Future. It was made by Accenture. The C-Suite Outlook by Forbes, and the Next Generation PMO by Capgemini. And with that, I hope you've enjoyed this presentation.